So this video is about the single leg RDL and some advices on that one. So for us, first things first, the single leg RDL is like every other deadlift variation. First of all, a hip hinge. Alright, so for us it's very important. We have to have the hip in an anterior pelvic tilt. That's what we want right here. In this case, we use a dumbbell. You can also use a barbell, whatever is in your program. But the rules are always the same. What we need to look at mostly is we want a very stable core. So we brace that. We make sure we gonna have a hip hinge. And the next thing that we have to focus on now is how do we position this leg, this free leg here, as the single leg RDL will look like this, all right? The most important part here is we have to think of our toes being turned inwards. So for us, we don't want an open hip, so I'll show you from front. We don't want an open hip. We want the hip always be closed. So always be closing. Make sure to keep the toes turned inwards. Doesn't matter which hand we are using to hold the weight, because there are some difference on that, but we always try to keep that foot turned inwards. So when we have the weight in the same hand as where we bend the leg, actually, it's going to be a lot easier from the balance. So when we have it here, we gonna have a little hard time on stabilizing usually, but it depends on what's the goal at that point. So both things can make sense. Please always think of, we are always having a hip hinge. We want to bring the hips back, that's the most important one, and we always keep the toes turned inwards. That are the two most important parts for us while keeping the core braced.